Can you start with injuries? I guess at this point, the big ones are Dion and Ed Oliver, and then the potential of Josh Norman being up this week.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes through practice. Some of those guys missed yesterday, as you know, so I just need to watch practice today and get a better feel.
And then I know you got to focus on this weekend's game, but in light of the uncertainty surrounding the Titans, is there any plan or discussion of a contingency plan for what might happen next week yet?
No, I'm not. If there is, I'm not looped in on it. We're focused on the Raiders right now.
Is it possible that there's something going on that you are being left out of just because it makes sense for the coach not to be occupied with something else on a Friday?
Not to my knowledge, but I'm sure. Look, we got professionals in this building, so we're aware of things, but we're focused on the Raiders this week.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, Sean, John Scott. Good morning.
Good morning, John.
You and Leslie both earlier this week had mentioned maybe the root of some of the defensive issues, especially last week, was just basically came down to fundamentals. We've heard you mention this in the past when there's been some performances that are uncharacteristic of what we've seen out of that unit. How common is it as a coach in your time that there are parts of the season where you do have to readdress and go basically back down to focusing on fundamentals?
Yeah, I mean, it's the name of the game. And when you get too far away from it, it rears its ugly head, right? And you have to continually teach, John, and reteach to continue to polish. And if for nothing else, to continue to keep it in the forefront of athletes' minds in this case, right? You go back and say, to give you an analogy, if you got up every morning and you know it's important to brush your teeth, right? And then you go we'll say 20 some years of doing it, and then for some reason you start not doing it, you're going to have a cavity or two at some point, right? Just give it time. And it's just kind of to paint the picture of how it works. And you gotta continually teach, continually reteach, double down on the fundamentals. And I found that to be the case not only in football but in life. And anything you want to do and do it well, there's got to be a good foundation of fundamentals with it.
And you'd mentioned also how while not using it as an excuse, it is a reality. There are some new guys on that defensive front. Is it a matter of continuity, or what is it that needs to be done to get them on the same page? And I believe you said something like understand how we play in this system.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it's all the above really. It's continually finding out who we are with some of these new pieces, and I believe that's the case every year, in particular because of the shorter run of this season. And it's guys understanding again the how the system works and the philosophy around the system, and then the back end and the front end working together to complement one another. So I think there's a lot that goes into it. And I found it interesting that around the league the scoring's up, which is interesting as well to boot. So again, no excuse, just something we have to continue to work on.
Thanks.
Sure.
Hey Sean, I know John Brown got back to practice yesterday. I was curious how he came through and what his outlook for the weekend might be.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see for the weekend. I thought yesterday he did some good things. So I'm anticipating him being available. Just don't want to say for sure right now, Joe, until I know after today. Yeah,
and similarly with Zach Moss, he got a couple of limited sessions in. What is he trending in the right direction as well for the weekend?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think he is. I just don't know for sure. I got to take a better look today. And I'd say the same for all those guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Sean, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. How you doing?
Good, Jay. How are you?
Good. Just wanted to ask you about an issue from last week's game. It seemed like there were a number of players who lost their footing on the turf. Did you happen to notice that at all? And is that maybe any concern at all of yours?
Yeah, we did notice that, Jay. To your point, it's something that we've followed up on here, and and it's being addressed. So separate of playing the Raiders, I acknowledge that that's something that was picked up on during and after the game, and it's something we're following up on.
And also the NFLPA president, J.C. Treader, this week called for all teams to go to grass fields based on injury rates. Are you in favor of grass fields? Do you have a preference, or is that something that you haven't really concerned yourself with?
Yeah, I'm more concerned right now with the Raiders, Jay, honestly, with all due respect to your question. And whether I like grass, turf, what have you, is not really important right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Sean. Obviously, Josh was named AFC Offensive Player of the Month yesterday. I mean, can you just kind of put that into context and what that means in your own words?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tremendous award. It's a team award. And Josh would be the first to acknowledge that. I really appreciate his mindset around it, and that he's focused on the Raiders, and that he knows that there's better football even in him, right? And so, as well as he's played at times, we have to continue to grow, each and every one of us. And Josh is a big leader in that area.
He's talked a lot over these last few years about developing and, the struggles that he's gone through learning and trying to get up to speed at certain points of his career. And I think about us and like in our daily lives, when we get frustrated with certain things, just how you react to it. Maybe, just, I don't want to do that anymore. Have you noticed, like, over the course of his career, like, growth from a maturity perspective year to year?
Absolutely. And I think that's what you want to see. You want to see players. You don't expect them to come in. Very rarely do they come in in their early 20s and rookie year, and they're all the way up here in all those areas. So it's natural to expect, and it's encouraging to see the way he's developed in that regard, and both on and off the field. And it's been fun to watch. Honestly, he's a neat guy, and to me, a guy that really fits in Buffalo. And that was part of the evaluation of the group of quarterbacks that we looked at when Josh came out. So I just think it's a great fit for the city, and I think he really personifies what Buffalo and Western New York's all about.
Thanks, Sean.
Coach, good morning. Mookie Harkins, Waffle Sports 1080. How you doing, sir?
Good, Mookie. How are you?
I'm good, man. And a lot of people, I'm not quite sure, Coach, if they understand the day in and day out operation of a head coach, how he has to really manage his team, just getting them prepared for battle, guys dealing with injuries and, during trying to get them to recover. So, like, what's it like, just getting your team prepared for battle on a week to week?
Well, there's a lot of that goes into it, right? There's a lot that goes into it. I have a lot of staff, a good staff around me that really do a great job with communicating. They're very detailed. They want to be the best, and I think that's a great start, right? They're selfless in their approach, and they put the team first. So, you're only as good as your people, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. So, we've got a good group of people, and none of us are perfect, but we have to continue to work together, and we've done a good job to this point, and I just really appreciate that.
Absolutely, Coach. And so, what's the feeling, man? What's your assessment on this week in your team? Are they fit? Are you confident enough that they're prepared to go to battle the way you want them to?
Well, we got another day of practice today, and then tomorrow before we leave. So this will be our second road trip, and I think I'm confident in my guys. I'm confident in our staff, and we've had a good week to this point. It certainly hasn't been to the point where we're ready yet, but we've got a couple more days, including today, to go out there and continue to sharpen.
That's right. You want to make sure that first quarter of the season, man, you guys are 4-0. So you're on a good pace, Coach. Good luck this week.
All right. Thanks, Mookie. I appreciate it.
Hi, Sean. Matt Fairburn here. You kind of mentioned there having the confidence in the people around you. What's your confidence level, I guess, in Leslie Frazier as your play caller? I know in the past you've taken those duties, but it seems like you guys got on the same page and kind of you work in tandem so much. Obviously, with you being a defensive guy, just what's your thoughts on the play calling and kind of how you guys are working through that?
Well, Leslie does a tremendous job. I think, as we look at what he's been able to do over the course of his career, the experience he has, his foundation, and where he got it from, he's a tremendous pro in his approach, and he's well respected with our players. I'm very confident in Leslie, and I think one day he'll be a head coach again in this league. I just love the way he approaches things, how he coordinates the staff, and I think he and I together, I've learned a lot from him, and I'd use him a lot in terms of his experience as an ex-head coach as well.
I know there's probably too much attention put on who's the one actually calling the plays, but to the extent that you're comfortable, what is the process during the week to make sure that you guys are kind of on the same page and that he's sort of an extension of you, I guess, on Sunday in some ways?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the process that goes into it is an important piece. We talk, we communicate during the week, and at the end of the day, Leslie calls the defenses, and that's where we go. And I'll offer some recommendations from time to time, but the majority of the time, Leslie's calling the defenses.
Cool. Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Vic.
So I'm going to keep this question in the frame of where your head is, preparing for a game Sunday, but I think it's applicable. So the Titans, Adam Schefter just reported within the last little bit, a couple of more players testing positive for them. We know the whole story about the postponement of their game and all that with Pittsburgh. In an overarching sense, every day, you and the others, you said the professionals in your building have a lot to think about in keeping your team safe and preventing what's happened to another team. When you see this, how does it affect the approach? Like, do you have to? Does it serve as the additional cautionary tale, as if you needed another one, to kind of regroup and say, we've got to make sure this is tight, and has it increased your concerns that maybe, our time is going to happen at some point, just like with other teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think all those thoughts are real, right, Vic? And I wouldn't be human if I didn't have those thoughts in my mind. That said, it's a gentle reminder, I guess, when it's not happening to us, that it's still around, and we can't get, I'll use the words, too comfortable. And because it hasn't happened to us, or before this past week hadn't happened really too much in the preceding weeks around the NFL, that we can afford to let our guard down. And I think I hate to see it happen to anyone, because at the end of the day, even though we compete with one another, we're all human here. So, but I think it's something we can learn from, and it is a gentle reminder for us of, hey, don't take this for granted. Let's not get too comfortable and let our guard down. We've got to make sure we remain diligent in our approach and consistent with our approach.
And as a follow-up, Sean, all those things you say about don't let guard down, just keep on track to do the best you can. Do you ever feel, because your primary concern as a coach is to do that, prepare your team to win games, in any way, do you ever question whether it compromises at some level that, like your day-to-day function of doing the thing that you're tasked to do, but know that this is out there? Does it get in the way of that at any point, or the thoughts or the preparation or whatever?
Well, number one is always health and safety of our entire building. That's number one, and I think Terry and Kim do a great job of modeling that. Number two is winning games, and in that order. And as long as I'm the head coach, that will always remain in that order. And I think that's the right way to do it. We've got to make sure that we can be healthy first, and then try and win games second. I'd be lying if I said it's not an added challenge. It is, in terms of the COVID this year. But as competitors, we're wired that way, to be mentally tough. And there's always challenges. And for me, growing up as a wrestler, growing up in the family I grew up in, mental toughness was taught, was preached. And I think that's an important life skill. And I'm not perfect either. But that's where, when you have a good team around you, people that support you, and we're all accountable to one another, I think it helps, right? And these are not easy times for anyone, let alone trying to win games in the midst of the COVID. Again, my heart goes out to the Titans and all the people that are impacted over there. But we have to focus on our situation. Certainly, like I said, acknowledge what we can learn from theirs, and then try and beat the Raiders this weekend.
Thanks, Sean, very much.
Sure. Yep.